Our today's topic is going to be a misfire topic. So, what to do and what cause a misfire? So, a misfire is whereby when you start your car, you can feel it shuddering or shaking while you're sitting inside the car, and when you open your bonnet, you can really see that your engine is shaking very bad, or sometimes just a little bit, or sometimes when you step on the gas to pull, you're gonna have that hesitation when you're pulling. All of those ones is misfire, even though other one is just hesitation, but it's part of misfire. First of all, you're gonna have a bad ignition coil. If one or two or more of your ignition coil having issues, you're gonna have a misfire. If one of your plugs are dead, you're gonna have a misfire. So ignition coil, your plugs, and even if your air intake sensor, which is they call it air intake air temperature sensor, if it's bad, you're gonna have a misfire. Normally on sensor you're gonna have a hesitation, but like I said, all this, it feels the same when you're in a car. Hesitation is part of misfiring. The head gasket is also going to give you the hesitation or loss of power. Even your head, again, your head, if there's a build-up in your head, is going to also give you a misfire or hesitation. Your throttle body, if it's dirty, is going to also give you a rough idling or even a hesitation, which lead to misfire. This is the most important one. If your timing is off, there's a possibility the timing can go off. This one is the biggest one, because once your timing is not in line, my friend, you're going to have a misfire that you're going to give mechanics headaches, because most of the mechanics, they don't want to think about this thing in the first place, which is this is the last thing to check. So these are the reasons why your car is going to misfire. A misfire can be very annoying, especially if you don't find the problem. So if you want to do it yourself, or if you want to check yourself before you reach your mechanic, I'm going to give you a step-by-step on how to check a misfire. So first thing first, when you enter your car, give it a start. Let the engine run. So once the engine is running, open the bonnet. Others, they call it a hood. So open the bonnet and go to in front of the engine. First thing to check, it's your ignition coils. So how do you check this? The reason why we check ignition coils is because the ignition coils are the ones who are giving power to the plugs so that they can fire inside the engine. So if one of ignition coils is not doing its job, or one or more is not doing its job, your engine is going to misfire. So in this case, if your car is got 4 cylinders, four-cylinder engine, start any side, whether left or right. Start removing the connection to ignition coil from the first cylinder. Now you must listen to your engine when you do this. When you pull the first connection, which this is the power line that is supplying the power to your coil, if you pull that connection off, feel how your engine is operating. Is it still sounds the same? or it start shuddering, or is it hesitating? The moment you remove the connection, and then the engine doesn't shake, or there's no any response, you must know in that cylinder we have a problem. But if you remove the connection and you're getting a shake, or the car changes the way it sounds, it changes the sound, or it changes the engine changes the performance, you must know that that's ignition coil, it's okay. So we're going to do this same test to all of them, and what you do is you just record the response of the engine when you remove the connection. So in the areas whereby the engine didn't respond, mark those ones to be checked further. So this is when now we come from the coils to the plugs. But now you must remember, if it doesn't respond, if the cylinder that you check is not responding, let's say maybe the cylinder number 3, when you remove the connection, it does not respond. Two things involved here: a bad plug, which is dead, or a bad coil. You get my point? So to further check of the coils here before you go to the plugs, you're gonna remove the cylinder 4, which the cylinder 3, which did not respond. Sorry, the cylinder 3 that didn't respond, put it to cylinder 1. You remove this coil here to 1. Now you remove the 1 to 3. Now you're gonna also do you're gonna start the car. Now you do the test. You're gonna unplug the connection again on 1 to see if it's not gonna respond. If it doesn't respond, you must know now this ignition coil for cylinder number 3 is dead. If it does respond on 1, now you must know that the coil is okay. Then you have a problem in cylinder 3 with the plug, which you're gonna check further. So if you done this test here, and then you record you find your problem here, either if you found all the coils are fine, then you're gonna go to the plugs. So the plugs is our next step if all the coils are fine. But even if you found one coil here, it's driving you crazy, you're still gonna go on with to check the plugs. This is now just to make sure that all the plugs are fine, and you already swap the coils here from one coil to another one, just to double check them, to make sure that you're getting misfire on the same place. To be clear, this check in the test we're doing here, it's when you don't have a diagnostic machine. But sometimes even the machine can drive you crazy. So you have to know, you have to understand to check without a machine, because 90% of the people don't have a machine. And most definitely, you're not going to have a machine at home if you're not running a garage, or if you're not running a mechanical workshop. You're not going to have a machine at home. Okay. Then our next thing is going to go to the plugs. Now we're going to remove all the plugs. Remove all 4 plugs that in all cylinders. Now supervise those plugs. Some plugs, they're gonna the gap at the bottom of the plug where the plug sparks. Check all of them if they look the same. If one looks suspicious, if one of those plugs is just suspecting it that something is not right on there, make sure that all those plugs there looks the same. Or sometimes maybe you might find there's a build-up carbon. So clean the plugs, or the plug that you're suspecting, remove it. Try to get a spare plug and and use the spare plug, just to test. If you found any plug that is suspicious, remove that plug and put another plug. That's another way to check your misfire. The plugs is part of a checklist. And now we're gonna go back to air intake sensor. Sometimes your car would misfire, or it would hesitate when you're accelerating, just because now this air intake sensor is giving it's misleading. It's not telling you, it is not giving a proper temperature of the air, or the amount of the air that needs to go into the engine, so that your computer can supply a proper amount of gasoline. So if you have that misfire and all this idea is okay, you go to the sensor now. If your ignition coil is fine, your plugs are okay, you go to the sensor. So check your intake sensor. If you see that sensor maybe is dead, or clean it. After you clean it, try to put it back. If your misfire doesn't change, then there's another 3 things involved. You might have a head gasket issue, which you cannot check by hand. I know there's a system whereby you put the water in a 2-liter bottle and then you turn it upside down on your radiator cap or your water tank cap. You turn it upside down to check. Some people say it works. Sometimes some people just can't understand how does it work. So I'm not going to tell you anything about that one. That one is for some people who are already have experience with that. For you, it's not going to make any sense if I have to explain about that. So you can check your head gasket without opening the engine by filling up a 2-liter water bottle. If you fill up the 2-liter bottle, you need to turn it upside down onto your radiator cap where you always fill water. Wherever you fill water in your car, you turn it upside down in there. Then start the engine. So when the engine is running, if there's air running back into that bottle, like there's a bubbles coming in your bottle, you must know that your head gasket is gone. That is one way of, like I said, it needs an experience. So I'm not advising you to start doing things that you don't understand on your car. So that's it for a head gasket. And then sometimes it can be the build up in your head or top cylinder. So if I'm talking about a head, I'm talking about the top cylinder of your car. Sometimes when the valves has a build up around it, they don't close properly, so they leave a gap. Then you're gonna have those you're gonna get the car shaking. Sometimes when you're in high gear, it doesn't want to give power. It's because you have the build up in the valves, which they're gonna need an engineer to skim it. They're gonna need to be skimmed. Very, very, very important thing. Most of misfires that people cannot get, or the people who want a quick job to be done, if you cannot find this guy here, is the biggest problem. No one want to jump here because it's always a big job. No one want to jump here. So if all these things here, you think all these things is okay, then it takes us to the timing guy. If the timing is off, my friend, this is where the mechanic is. If your mechanic doesn't understand the timing, then forget about it. So this is the most annoying misfire that you can have on the car, because most of the people, they can't tell about when the timing is off. So this is one of the things that is going to cause your car to misfire, and it needs really a good experience. I don't advise anyone who just want to do a DIY on timing if you don't understand it. This you're not going to do it yourself. You have to send it to qualified or any mechanic who understands the timing. So I put the timing on a list just to show you that this can also be a part of your misfire. If all these things that you do here, it's okay, it looks okay, because it might look okay, or maybe you might misunderstood it. But if you try all these things here and then it doesn't work, it's still misfiring, then you must know that it's either here or these 2 guys here. Something wrong with your head. It is going to give you a headache, because that one will become a huge problem. And this one is going to just be a hesitation and maybe a rough idle or anything, or some stuff like that. The throttle body, if the throttle body is dirty, it's going to give you that rough idle, or the engine is not going to really run straight, especially when you're accelerating. Sometimes it's going to hesitate because of the dirty throttle body. So guys, that's it for misfire. Our next chapter is gonna be what I want to talk about next time. I want to talk about you must check out this video of mine. I think I'm gonna release it by Monday, or if I have time on Sunday, this coming Sunday. Today is Friday. I'm talking about this week. Today is Friday. I think it's the 9th of June or 8th of June. I don't know, but by 10 or 12th of June, I'm gonna release a video whereby I'm going to talk about issues with starting. There is some cars that gives you a headache on starting, or sometimes they don't want to start at all, and mechanics can try to do anything on it. They can do whatever they can do, check a starter, check everything in the car, and check what you call the other thing. They can even check the clank sensor, all the sensors they can check, they're still fine, but at the end of the day, or maybe replace it with a new ones, the car still doesn't want to start. You need to stay tuned on that one. I'm going to tell you the secret that 90%, I can say 99.9% of mechanics don't know about. So tune to that video, or if in case maybe you view this video a little bit later, you might find the video I'm talking about is going to be on at the end of this video.